Countdown to the Draft, sponsored by Bell & Health.
As Green Bay prepares to host the 2025 NFL Draft, the excitement is reaching all corners of the region. One farm in northeast Wisconsin turning fall fun into a celebration of the big event.
In our Countdown to the Draft series, Emily Riley takes us to Petals and Plows in Ripon, where a draft-themed corn maze will soon be open to the public.
Petals and Plows greenhouse is setting the stage for a memorable fall season. The Kaufman family farm is unveiling its much-anticipated 18-acre corn maze on September 7th, with a design that celebrates Green Bay's upcoming role as the host city for the 2025 NFL Draft.
We've got the draft logo in it, we've got a football, and then we've got some things that, you know, are very near and dear to our roots with, you know, a tractor with a cow, and we've also got cheese in there for Wisconsin, so really one of our best designs, I think.
The maze offers something for everyone. Visitors can choose from 3 different maze lengths, short, medium, and long. Each provide their own challenge. Wade Kaufman from Petals and Plows says the experience is different for every visitor.
I've had people do it the entire thing in 45 minutes. I've had people in here for 3.5 hours.
Just for reference, I'm standing about 5'2", and these corn stalks tower over me. It's very easy to get lost here.
As part of a larger celebration of Wisconsin's agricultural heritage, Petals and Plows is one of 4 farms creating draft-themed mazes this fall. The others include Polly's Pumpkin Patch in Chilton, Felt's Dairy Store in Portage County, and Porter's Patch near Bondwell.
I just love watching the magic of bringing everyone together. When it's the weekends and we have events, when we have people out here and families making memories.
Besides staying hydrated during your visit, the Kaufmans have important advice for those ready to take on the maze.
If anybody comes out here, just have fun. It's such a fun place.
In Ripon, Emily Riley, Action 2 News.
When it comes to some of the most important figures in Packers history, his name is not often mentioned, but after Curly Lambeau and Vince Lombardi, it's hard to find anyone who left a bigger mark on the franchise, especially when it comes to the draft. Tonight, Jeff Alexander explains the lasting legacy of Jack Vanisi.
Just across from Lambeau Field stands a monument with a name many Packers fans today likely won't recognize. But in the storied history of the Green Bay Packers, very few people have had more of an impact than Jack Vanisi.
Jack's Wall of Fame.
Jack's Wall of Fame.
Dr. Sam Vanisi, a retired world-renowned veterinary ophthalmologist, remembers his older brother as a football star growing up in Chicago.
Jack was the tackle. As a junior, he made all Illinois first team. That's how good he was.
Jack's talent led to a scholarship at Notre Dame, where he played 1 year before being drafted into the Army and sent to Japan just after the end of World War II. While playing on General MacArthur's football team, Jack contracted rheumatic fever, and after becoming seriously ill, was sent back to Chicago, where he spent a year in the hospital. After recovering in 1950, his freshman coach at Notre Dame, Gene Ronzani, was now the head coach of the Packers.
Ronzani knew Jack. He knew how good a football player he was, and he knew he had a good football mind. So he asked Jack to come up here and be his scout.
The 1950s, though, proved to be lean years for the Pack, as coaching staffs were fired and hired. Despite the team's futility on the field, the board was impressed by the players their head scout and personnel director was drafting. Players like Jim Ringo in 1953, Forrest Gregg and Bart Starr in 56, Paul Horning in 57, and Jim Taylor, Ray Nitschke, and Jerry Kramer in 58. He also signed Willie Wood and made trades for Willie Davis and Henry Jordan.
He's got 13 guys in the Hall of Fame that he's responsible for in 10 years. Nobody's done that.
Sam says his brother was ahead of his time, even compiling information on players before they entered college.
He knew every kid in high school. He had a number of coaches that he'd be in contact with a couple of times a year.
In 1959, believing the team needed a disciplinarian, Jack convinced the Packers board to pursue someone he knew, Giants offensive coordinator Vince Lombardi. Lombardi agreed to come to Green Bay under one stipulation.
The board of directors was a million guys on the board of directors. You got to get that board of directors down, and the only one I'm going to deal with is Jack Vanisi. So Literally, Jack brought him here. He wouldn't have come if it wasn't for Jack. This is a picture of Jack introducing Lombardi to the board of directors.
Sadly, the partnership between Lombardi and Venisi didn't last long. Just after Thanksgiving in 1960, Jack suffered a massive heart attack and died, stemming from complications of the rheumatic fever. He was just 33 years old, and Vince Lombardi was crushed.
They loved each other, they really did.
The following year, when the draft rolled around, Lombardi again tapped into Jack's expertise. Sam only learned about it years later when he attended a book signing for Hall of Famer Herb Adderley.
And he said, I never got to thank your brother, so I want to thank his brother. And we shook hands, and I almost cried. And he signed it. He said, your brother told me when I was a junior at Michigan State, you're going to be my number one pick. He said, when Lombardi picked me, he said, damn it, you better be good because I'm going on Venisi's word.
In 1982, the Packers inducted Jack Venisi into their Hall of Fame. A few years ago, he was up for consideration for the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a contributor, but fell short of the votes needed.
So turn over at his grave if he knew Jack wasn't in the Hall of Fame.
But Sam is hoping next spring will shed some light on those Hall of Fame voters.
But I think a lot of those guys are going to be here for the draft. And a lot of them are going to read that monument, and hopefully, just hopefully, he might get, they might get a call.
And Sam says there's no doubt what hosting the draft in Green Bay would have meant to Jack.
He would have just loved to have been here. He just would have loved it, been part of it.
In many ways, he will be. After all, it's being held in the title town he helped build. Jeff Alexander, Action 2 News, Green Bay.
And on the night before the draft in Green Bay next spring, many people will learn more about Jack Venisi. The Jack Venisi Memorial Award will be presented to the NFL's top scout and personnel director during a banquet at the Riverside Ballroom. Football fans and Harley fans, do you recognize that bike? This was the Harley-Davidson motorcycle that was used during the Super Bowl 23 halftime show in Miami, Florida back in 1989.
Going back a ways, another bike coming out of the vault at the Harley-Davidson Museum in Milwaukee. It's going to be on display next April ahead of the 2025 NFL Draft. In her countdown to the draft series, Emily Byard gives us a sneak peek to get the fandom's engines revving.
During the draft, the spotlight will be on Green Bay. The Harley-Davidson Museum in Milwaukee will have an opportunity for fans to get a closer look at a unique piece of NFL history.
These are my relatives.
Bill Davidson is the great-grandson of William A. Davidson, one of the 4 founders of Harley-Davidson.
Arthur, Walter, and William were the 3 Davidson brothers, and they were childhood friends with Bill Harley.
It's not just history, but family history. For a family business that spans decades.
The first bike came out of a 10 by 15 foot wooden shed that was actually in the backyard of my great-great-grandfather.
That shed would be the original factory, rolling out Harley-Davidson's first motorcycle in 1903. Bill's own father is still active with the company at 91 years young.
It's amazing, absolutely amazing. My dad was our chief styling officer. So he had a lot to do with designing the motorcycles, and in fact, that's my dad.
It's a Cinderella story he says every day he's humbled to be a part of.
It's so rewarding and so special, and sometimes it's hard to put the emotions into words.
This rich legacy is depicted through the halls of the Harley-Davidson Museum, which gets 350,000 visitors a year.
He did quite a few of these.
Sure. Is that your favorite one on the wall then?
Well, it is just because of what it represents, you know, my dad's first logo.
Some bikes have quite a storied past, personal even, for Bill Davidson.
So this is a very famous bike, and it's one of only 2 that Harley-Davidson produced.
Deep in the museum archives.
It's called the Heritage Softail.
One of the 102 bikes that was used during Super Bowl 23's halftime show in 1989. The Elvis impersonator, Elvis Presto, firing up that very motorcycle to the leader of the pack.
It was almost surreal, and it was, I remember coming in there and just seeing, an entire Joe Robbie Stadium full of fans cheering. I mean, it was pretty exciting.
Bill Davidson was one of those lucky riders in the blue jean jackets, which was found during our interview.
That's it. That's it. That's it. I am so glad you found it, because I went into my closet last night and I was like, it's gone.
We didn't steal it.
The bike, the jacket, and several other pieces of memorabilia will be pulled from the archives vault to be on full display starting April 8th through the 28th. So fans visiting the state for the 2025 NFL Draft can step back in time and share in the experience of two American icons, Harley-Davidson and the NFL. It's another one of those pinch me moments for the Packers season ticket holder who has many fond memories going to the games with his grandfather, including the last game at the Milwaukee County Stadium.
Brett Favre was the quarterback, and he had that unbelievable throw into the end zone. I will never forget that. And that was the end of the games in Milwaukee, and then they moved up to Green Bay, and how thrilling that was to go to Lambeau Field and see that history and be part of that crowd. And I've got goosebumps right now.
The draft coming to Wisconsin is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It's an opportunity Bill says even the founding fathers of Harley-Davidson would be humbled and honored by to share with fans of football and Harley-Davidson.
It is Americana to its fullest. Yeah. And I think my relatives, the founders, Bill Harley, would be very proud to know that a brand they started was on display for literally millions and millions of people to see.
In Milwaukee, Emily Beyer, Action 2 News.
They didn't let Emily ride off into the sunset on that one, huh?
Oh, magical sound though, that motor. Wow, check it out.
Yeah, that looks like a cool thing, a cool place to visit, for
Again,
sure.
Big deal for the draft, no
Yeah.
doubt. 176 days and counting until the 2025 NFL Draft. The event is allowing local artists' dreams to come true.
His spectacular murals of Packers legends are certainly something that attendees will want to check out. Emerson Lehman tells us about Bo Thomas and his creative talents in today's Countdown to the Draft story.
Ever since he was a kid. I've been painting for close to 20 years now. Green Bay's Bo Thomas knew what he wanted to be doing. My goal has always been to get my work out there, to paint all over the city. Now 33 years old with a young son of his own, it's safe to say Bo has accomplished that goal with his murals decorating Titletown. My count is 300 plus. Most are indoor, and then some have been painted over in that time. With the 2025 NFL Draft headed to Northeast Wisconsin, downtown Green Bay wanted to add some spark and color to the city. They knew just who to call.
Bo is great, and he just is so embedded in our community and just has a way of capturing so easily some of the things that really are nostalgic to Green Bay.
The lifelong Packers fan using his latest work to honor Bart Starr on the side of the Bellin Building downtown and Ray Nitschke on the Main Street Bridge, two of the greats who helped put the title in Titletown. Green Bay doesn't have that many Packer murals. There's still just, the fences on Lombardi and maybe 3 or 4 Packer murals around, so I thought it was important to kind of show that part of our culture and identity. A culture and identity that will be on display for millions when all eyes turn to Green Bay in April 2025. As a full-time mural artist, this is a dream come true. Reporting in Green Bay with photojournalist Michael Bergman. Hopefully give everybody a great experience and something to remember about Green Bay. Emerson Lehman, Action 2 News.